So, fair warning, this will contain some fairly strong material. I've tried to edit some of the more difficult portions. So, we'll be going through some difficult testimonies by, I think we can say very clearly, real victims versus much more questionable claims by two adults who claimed that Michael Jackson was being improper to them when they were much younger. And there's a lot of contradictions and problems with their accounts. And I want to focus on Rob Ager, who did a incredible job at showing that the alleged documentary Leaving Neverland has many, many problems. So we will focus on one particular account. Again, this is very edited, so be prepared. If you want to know or see more, go to Rob Ager's YouTube channel.
To perform. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know how to feel. I just felt weird. I felt naked. I felt vulnerable.
I should note explicitly that the person they're referring to is an older woman. She was apparently 16 to 17 when she decided to, quote, perform on this much younger man. As Rob points out, and again, Rob is a very interesting film theorist and film analyst who does a lot of work on Kubrick, as do I. I have an even second channel called Examining Kubrick, so I do respect him there, but we disagree a lot. However, he's also worked a lot in social services in England. And again, we're going with what he calls nonverbal cues. And he could be wrong or right, but he does point out a lot of consistency in the way people testify if they really were, quote, assaulted or hurt when they were younger. And when we look at the two other alleged victims, the way they act and the way they give their testimony is very different. Whereas in the one case, and here we'll just play a very short clip of someone.
That close, I personally was already crying really bad. And, I complied because I didn't know, what to do, in this type of situation or whatever. So I just, did whatever.
Notice in this case, he's going through very rapidly. There is no editing. He just pours out what he remembers, what he thinks, what he believes. It's not prompted. It's very naturalistic. However, when we look at the two other alleged victims, it's very different. It looks very scripted, it's edited, it feels like it's coached, and also their mannerisms don't seem to indicate that they were traumatized, but only that they're trying to think through a horrible experience, but put Jackson in symbolically.
So much that first time. I must have done it a few times. Michael would like it if you would bend over and like spread.
Now, I want to be clear. It could be Jackson is guilty. I'm not claiming he's totally innocent. Rob is not claiming he's totally innocent. The claim is that this documentary does a very poor job of trying to substantiate the claims. Now, it could be Jackson did do things that were improper and may be improper to, quote, younger people. However, this documentary does not vindicate that. In fact, there's a lot of contradictions, namely that one of the victims actually affirmed very explicitly on television nothing happened with Michael Jackson.
Into the ranch.
Easy, Dean. Easy.
No, he's not moving to the ranch. Are you still friendly with Michael?
Yeah, we still talk every couple months, catch up.
You do, really?
Yeah.
Well, what's he like?
What's he like? He's a good guy.
Is he a good guy?
Yeah.
Show me where he touched you. You never, nothing
Same
ever,
place he touched you, bro.
nothing ever like that? No nonsense, no shenanigans?
So it could be the case that, which does happen, you have repressed memories. Ergo, when he was younger, he didn't understand, he didn't know, so on and so forth. However, there is a consistency to the way their testimony is being done. It feels much more polished, like they're doing an acting performance, so on and so forth, and they have to keep taking breaks, right? This is not one continuous testimony. It seems to be breaking down and breaking up by different portions to sort of maximize camera angles, performances, how they look, sound quality, so on and so forth. So it's much more manufactured. It's not someone just deciding to, okay, please speak to the camera, please speak to this person. In the other cases, there's very little camera movement. It's just focused on just tell your story, we'll try to get it down, and then get a reaction.
I'm still working on it.
Yeah, well, you really genuinely don't look like you're working on it. The ultra-slow, soft delivery of almost all their lines in the film strikes me as an unsophisticated effort to make them appear emotionally traumatized.
So there's just a lot of differences. And then there are just factual problems, editing problems. Rob also put up a video, which we'll look at, where it's very clear that there's very iffy editing. So again, I'm very convinced that Rob did a wonderful job showing that Leaving Neverland definitely had an agenda. It is not to be trusted as a documentary. That said, there are definitely a lot of questions you can have about Jackson's behavior, whether he did act properly. However, there's a Jackson biopic already coming, and it's getting a lot of controversy for not covering them. We'll keep looking at this. It's a very difficult subject, but one worth going through, because if these are false claims, this does do a lot of damage to real victims.